Hello, my name is Molly Bartlett or Miss Bartlett. This lesson is for second graders. It's at the end of the year and it is for literacy. Okay, boys and girls, so remember yesterday we briefly talked about simile or analogies and metaphors, right? So who remembers what an analogy is? Yeah, it's something that uses like or as. And then what's a metaphor? It's similar, except it doesn't use like or as, right? So I have some examples for you of some analogies and some metaphors. So the first one says, finding my car keys is like finding a needle in a haystack. So who thinks that it is a metaphor? Raise your hand. Okay. And then raise your hand if you think it's an analogy. Very good. So it's an analogy. Here, I'll write that. Analogy. And why is it an analogy? Because that word like right there. Correct. Good job. So, next, my fingers are icicles. Who thinks it's a metaphor? Who thinks it's an analogy? Very good. It is a metaphor. Why is it a metaphor? Because there's no like or as in it. Okay. The next one says, you are my sunshine. Has anybody ever heard that from their parents? I know I have. So, who thinks it's a metaphor? And who thinks it's an analogy? It's a metaphor again. I got you. Metaphor. And why? Because there's no like or as. Correct. Okay, this one says, getting my friends to go to the concert is like pulling teeth. Who thinks that it's a metaphor? Analogy? Very good. It is an analogy. Why? Because it uses like or as, right? Okay. So, I want to have us put our thinking caps on, right? Okay. We are going to think about how to compare different things or what kind of things we can compare. So, I have an example for you. It says, Maya has a heart of gold. So, when we think of Maya, what do we think of? What words do we think of? Maya is kind. I'll write that down. Kind, sweet, gentle. Yep, those are some of the words I heard. So those are good examples for what kind of things we can get from. This one is a metaphor because it says she has and not like. If it said Maya is like a heart of gold, then it would be an analogy. But it's a metaphor because it doesn't have that. So I have this down here, and I want us to choose. There's one sentence that works with the knowledge we have of Maya and one sentence that doesn't work. So the first one says Maya is an angel, and then Maya is a monster. So based off of what we know about Maya, where she's kind and sweet and gentle, has a heart of gold, which of these sentences works? Do we think the first one works? Okay, the second one works? You guys are right. Good job. So I'm going to cross this off. Why doesn't this work? It just doesn't match the kind of words we used up here. If we said Maya has the heart of a beast, then it could be a monster, right? So I have an activity for you guys. So, when we go back to our seats, do you guys know all your 5 senses? Who can name them all? There's taste, there's touch, sound, sight, and smell. Good job. So, we are going to write a poem using our 5 senses and using analogies and metaphors. So we can compare different things, we can know different things. So I wrote an example because Miss Bartlett loves coffee. She said, the coffee was as smooth as silk. Was this an analogy or a metaphor? Analogy, good job. Now if I said the coffee was silk, would that still be an analogy or would that be a metaphor? It'd be a metaphor. Good job. So, we are going to go back to our seats, and you should have templates on your table. If not, come find me and I will get those to you. And so we're going to do metaphors and analogies for all of our 5 senses. So you could say the cookies smelled like heaven, or the cookies were as wonderful smelling as a candle, or something like that. So, do we have any questions before we start? Okay, let's go back to our seats and get started.